અને મારું વોઇસ બરાબર સંભળાય છે ને?
સર એમને તમારો વોઇસ નહીં સંભળાય. તમે કોમેન્ટ એ લોકો કરી શકશે.
ઓકે, પણ મારું વોઇસ તો સંભળાય છે ને બધાને?
હા સર, હા હા, તમારું વોઇસ સંભળાય.
હા, બસ બસ. તો ક્લેરિટી છે ને, પાછું એવું ના થાય કે વોઇસ બરાબર ના આવતો બધા ડિસ્ટર્બ
ઓકે
ના
સર, શેલ વી સ્ટાર્ટ સર?
શ્યોર શ્યોર. હા, કિરણ?
Uh, Good afternoon to all of you and all the research scholar. Now I would like to formally introduce Dr. Amit Kumar K. Parmar sir. Dr. Amit Kumar is presently serving as an assistant professor at Government Commerce College, Gandhinagar. He began his academic career after successfully clearing the Gujarat Public Service Commission examination in 2002, following which he was appointed as an assistant professor. He has demonstrated a strong commitment to academic excellence and research. He completed his MPhil in 2009 from Veer Narmad South Gujarat University and went on to earn his PhD in 2017 from the same esteemed university. With years of dedicated experience in teaching and research, Dr. Parmar has made valuable contribution to the field of commerce and higher education. We are truly honored to have him with us today. Please start, sir, your lecture.
Thank you, Hiral. How could I join my PPT? It is in a present or where?
વિડીયો કોલની બાજુમાં સર પ્લસનું આઇકન હશે. વિડીયો કોલની બાજુમાં પ્લસનું આઇકન હશે ને, તેમાં શેર સ્ક્રીન કરીને એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન
Yes.
કરો એટલે આવી જશે. યસ સર. તમારી એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન સર દેખાય છે, તો
Hiral,
તેમાંથી પીપીટી જોઈન કરો.
હા, પણ મને નથી દેખાતી ને.
યસ સર. વન્સ અગેન સર ટ્રાય કરજો.
ઓકે, હિરલ કઈ રીતે કરવું પડે મને? સ્ક્રીન શેરિંગ, સમ સ્ક્રીન સિલેક્ટિવ. શેર સ્ક્રીન આવે છે, પણ કઈ આવે છે એ નથી મને બતાવતું. મારે આખું એન્ટાયર થઈ ગયું છે ને,
ઓવરઓલ
એમાં
એન્ટાયર.
ક્રોમ ટેબ આવે છે, વિન્ડો આવે છે
યસ
અને
સર.
એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન આવે
ફ્રોમ
છે. એમાંથી
શેર
કોઈ એક
સ્ક્રીન
સિલેક્ટ
દેન.
કરવાની હશે ને.
યસ યસ સર. એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન કરી પછી શેર કરો.
સિલેક્ટ. ઓકે. ઓકે, હિરલ,
યસ
કેન યુ
સર.
હિયર મી?
યસ યસ.
હવે ત્યાં એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન તો હા, એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન જ. હવે એમાં સિલેક્ટ હું કેવી રીતે કરું? કોઈ સિલેક્શન નહીં આવતું, એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન જ આવે છે ખાલી.
એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન કરો એટલે
એના
આખી
ઉપર ક્લિક
સ્ક્રીન
કરતું
ખુલશે
એટલે
સર તમારે. એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન સિલેક્ટ કરશો ને એટલે
યસ
આખી સ્ક્રીન
યસ
ખુલશે.
યસ
પછી એડ ટુ સ્ટેજ કરો ને પછી તમારી સ્ક્રીન દેખાશે.
પ્લીઝ પાર્ડન, એડ ટુ સ્ક્રીન.
યસ.
ઓકે, એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન ક્લિક કર્યું તો શેર આવ્યું મારામાં. તો શેર કરો હવે
હા, શેર કરો,
નીચે,
શેર કરો સર.
કેન્સલ ઓર શેર.
શેર કરો
શેર
સર.
કરો. સોરી હા, થોડું ડિસ્ટર્બ થશે. હા,
કોઈ વાત નહીં.
ઓકે. હવે શેર કર્યું તો યુ આર ઇન શો.
1 સેકન્ડ હા સર.
શેર કરું તો મારામાં કઈ
ઓકે. નેટવર્ક સ્લો હશે સર એટલે આમ થતું હશે. વન
બની
સેકન્ડ
શકે.
સર.
આમ તો મારા ત્યાં 4G તો ચાલે છે અત્યારે. 5G નો ટ્રાય કરી જોઉં. બાકી તો આરામથી આવી જાય છે.
નેટવર્ક ઇશ્યુ
ડાયરેક્ટ
લાગે છે.
ત્યાંથી કેચ કરીને લાવી શકાશે? સ્ટોપ શેરિંગ. ઓકે.
1 સેકન્ડ સર.
વોઇસનો બાકી તો ક્લેરિટી છે ને પછી?
સર હવે ટ્રાય કરો છો ને તમારી સ્ક્રીન બતાવી છે વ્યવસ્થિત. વોઇસ ક્લિયરિટી બરાબર જ છે.
ઓકે.
સ્ક્રીન શેર નથી થઈ ગઈ પણ એમને પછી હવે શું કરવું? હેલો.
સ્લાઇડ્સ એન્ડ PDF.
હા સર ત્યાંથી કરો. ગૂગલ ડ્રાઈવમાં પહેલા તમારી પીપીટી લઈ લેશો ને એટલે ડાયરેક્ટ થઈ જશે.
ઓકે, તો મારે પાછું મારું ઈમેલ બી ખોલવું પડશે ને, કારણ કે મેં તો ફક્ત આ સ્ક્રીન સ્લાઇડ જ ખોલ રાખી છે. 10 મિનિટ હા.
સર એક કામ કરશો એવું હોય તો પછી અમને મોકલી આપો, અમે અહીંથી ચેન્જ કરતા જશું. હેલો,
જસ્ટ મિનિટ, એક જ ગૂગલ ડ્રાઈવમાં નાખી દો, ગૂગલ ડ્રાઈવમાં નાખી દો ને મારી.
હા સર વાંધો નહીં, બાકી પછી અમને મોકલી દેજો, અમે ચેન્જ કરતા જશું.
હે ને? હા તો એવું કરતો પછી તો બી વાંધો નહીં આવે. કાંઈ એવું છે નહીં, તો સ્લાઇડ વગર બી પછી લઈ લેશે. મને એમ કે લાવ થોડી સ્લાઇડ બનાવતો, થોડું બાળકોને મજા આવશે એટલા માટે. બાકી તો
ઓરલી લેવું હોય તોય વાંધો નહીં સર, અને તમારે પીપીટી જોતી જ હોય તો પછી અમને મોકલી આપો, એવું હોય ને તો અમે
એકવાર નાખી જો. હા તો હા શ્યોર, ચલો એવું કરજો. હા આમ તો સામાન્ય રીતે થઈ જ જતું હોય છે, પણ તેમાંથી નીકળી મને ખ્યાલ ના આવે.
સર તમારી પીપીટી મોકલી આપજો અમને, અમે અહીંથી ચેન્જ કરી દઈશું.
ઓકે ઓકે ઓકે, ચાલો એ જ કરજો. હા ને, કારણ કે મેં ટ્રાય કર્યો પણ નથી જોડી શકતો.
યસ સર, યસ.
મેલ જ કરી દઉં છું, બરોબર. ઓકે ઓકે. હિરલ,
યસ સર.
યસ સર.
મેં તમને વોટ્સઅપ કરી દઉં છું, બરોબર છે હિરલ? ત્યાં જે મને
હા, સર.
સવારે હાઈ લખી તેની પર જ.
હા સર.
સર તમને મોકલું છે ને એ નંબરમાં મોકલજો.
હે ને, વોટ્સઅપમાંથી તમે પહેલે
હાઈ કર્યું છે.
કયો હે ને? હા તો મને હાઈ કરી દે,
હા,
એના પર
સર.
મોકલી દેજો, કારણ કે હવે હું જોડી નથી શકતો. ગૂગલ ખુલી ગયેલું છે, પણ ગૂગલમાંથી પસંદ નહીં થતું મારાથી એ,
કાંઈ વાંધો નહીં સર,
એટલે હું તમને
અમને સેન્ડ
મોકલી
કરી
આપીશ.
આપો.
શ્યોર 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 મને જરા હાય લખીને મોકલી આપો ને ખાલી વોટ્સઅપમાં એટલે પાછું થઈ જાય કારણ કે
સર મોકલું છે તમને હાય લખીને, એમાં એ નંબર પર મોકલી દો.
હા બસ બસ એના પર મોકલ્યું થોડુંક ઓકે મેં તમને મોકલી દીધી હા અને હું શરૂ કરું છું હવે હા ને
સર હજી અમને મળી નથી.
હા, મળી ગઈ છે.
ઓકે સર,
ઓકે
મળી ગઈ છે. હમણાં હું શેર કરું છું.
હિરલ તને મળી ગયું હશે
હા હા સર.
ઓકે first all of you that is my dear all the PhD scholar I am really very sorry because it's at least 10 to 15 minutes I already late some technical problems arise and I have so many times tried to share my PPT, but it's not happened. But okay, हिरल और वो सब लोग ट्राई कर रहे हैं वहाँ से आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे. Now we are start our today's lecture. First, I am really very thankful to Dr. Dinesh Chavda and his all entire team, particularly the Vice Chancellor of the Kavita Sumita University and the whole staff that they at least invited me for this lecture. Myself, Professor Amit Parmar, Government Commerce College, Chandigarh. Can I hear? Please, someone tell me from the team. Can I audible?
યસ સર.
Go ahead.
Okay, 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 okay. Thank you. Okay. Now we are going. How many? Uh, okay, there are so many participants. That's nice, nice, nice. Okay, now we start with the today's my topic is primary data collection and secondary data collection. I think data is as important as whatever the raw material, while whatever we preparing, just like food or make some clothes or some construction, whatever. The raw material is very important. The same in a research data is also a very important thing. When we compare the developed countries with the underdeveloped and poor companies, developed countries just like America, Germany, Japan, Australia, and England, and some other countries also. And when it's compared to the India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, and so many other poor countries also. When we will compare developed with the underdeveloped countries, clearly we have shown the difference between the road, buildings, that means infrastructure, the difference between the infrastructure, hospital system, that means hospital, education system, defense system. There are vast difference between among these countries. Why? Because there is a gap between the growth and development. And do you think that this is the only gap of the infrastructure, road and buildings. No, this is the difference between the creative mind, the research mind. This is the clearly gap between the research. Developed countries are more ahead than developing countries in the research. Just think about the a little thing today, from the bicycle to the aeroplane. Second, from the bicycle to the aeroplane, all the major products, all the major products have been searched or discovered by this developed country, because mostly they have mostly they have spent their entire education or entire working life on the base of the research. Our school system mostly depend on a classroom education, whereas their education mostly nurture in a field work, real job. So whenever we talk about the top companies, top universities, suppose top companies, just take the example, Facebook, Google, WhatsApp, Apple, whatever the biggest company. There are some Chinese companies also, Alibaba. This all company. See, many times when I talk with the students, I told them that when we wake up in the morning, we see the face of the Google, we see the WhatsApp message, this is the Facebook. We whatever the we instrument used, mobile or laptop or whatever the car and the this all the products are made in a developed country. In a real, what I want to say that research is the base of growth and development, not only individual but for the company and country also. Means research become the base for the development of any country. So it is a great opportunity for the PhD scholar. You are very lucky that you get the admission in a PhD, because in our country, most of all traditional degrees are related with the only traditional education. Just read, watch, listen, and write the answer of the question in the exam. Only this degree, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, gives you some field work, gives some at least research base. So I humbly say to the PhD scholar that don't think about the PhD degree only, but try to make some creative mind. How to make the creative mind? Go through the depth of this thesis. Not only you will try to take the degree, but you will try to at least take the depth knowledge. And how you take the depth knowledge? You take the depth knowledge. Try to go inside research. Try to read two or three books of research. Try to read fundamental books of this subject. Whatever your subject, mostly all of you are from the commerce subject. So try to read the fundamental books of the commerce, try to read the fundamental books of the account, try to read of the fundamental books of the management. It's give you a great insight and make your mind to more research based mind. And remember, if your mind, if you make your mind the research based, then it's always useful in the future to think on a some research base, not go on a just traditional way. Now I want to go the today's topic. Please change the slide. One slide. Uh, Primary data collection and secondary data collection. When we start our PhD, the first chapter is a mostly we try to introduction of our topic. Whatever your topic, at least you write down the what about your topic. At least one or two or three pages. And while you pursuing the PhD degree, you write down in introduction stage. The second most important part of your research study is a literature review. And after literature review, mostly literature review is a one method of secondary data. So when we will go to the secondary data, at that time we talk about the literature review. But remember, without literature review, without literature review, your PhD pursuing is mostly you are going just in a dark room. So many students, I have also 6 to 7 PhD students. I am a PhD guide. So many students directly come with me and talk that, sir, this is my objective, how I create the tools, how I analyze the data. Sir, I have stuck with the statistical analysis. So I am laughing at that time. I said, uh, don't go too fast. Whenever you start your PhD, first at least first 6 months, you spend on a literature review. Literature review is the only method, only method which give you a light in the dark room. When you studied, at least try to study first the research methodology, at least 2 or 3 books of well-known author who writes the research methodology books, research methodology in commerce, research methodology in sociology, research methodology in statistics. So, please, if you go through the books of the research methodology, at least you know how to write the literature review, how to at least whenever you start your PhD at that time, your objective is not much clear, your hypothesis is not as exact, your tools and techniques, whatever you consider or whatever you take the tools and techniques, it's not completely. But when you go through the at least 2 or 3 books of research methodology, remember your half work of PhD has been completed. So first try to go through the proper literature review. For the literature review, you visit your college library, you visit your university library, and try to get maximum secondary data. Okay. Okay. Now we need the data. So remember that data is become your raw material. So whatever we made, whatever type of the dish we made, the most important part of that particular dish is the data. So data is become your basic. So sometimes so many scholars more emphasize on the tools and techniques. Remember, now there are so many advanced tools already used in the market. So don't think or don't emphasize more on the tools and technique. Must you focus on a data, because whatever the tools and techniques of analytical method you used, actually it is used on a data. So first, more time spent on literature review, and then try to get maximum and at least valuable data for the your study, because data are become the basic inputs for your study. It's become the basic input. Please, next slide. Okay. Uh, one slide previous. Yeah. What is objective of the data? So particularly, data is important. Whatever your objectives, hypotheses, these all are realized in the future. When you make some process on the data, how you process with the tools and techniques. That means I say repeat that data becomes your base. So what is the main objectives of the data? The first is the decision making. It's very easy that whatever the decision comes after when you complete the analytical, whatever the tools and techniques used on a data, whatever the decision at that time, whatever the conclusion comes, remember it's basic or it's based on your data. If your quality of data is more, if your quality of data is sound, then remember your result also comes sound. So very easy. And whatever the your research questions, because ultimately your PhD title is the main your research problem, and your objectives is always it's always the sub parts of the title. So your title is main, it's become your PhD title, and your objective becomes the subtitle of the title or sub questions of the your topic. So ultimately, why we are doing this all the research process? To know the answer of our question, of our, that means the researcher question. Whatever the questions you raised in your research methodology, the answer of these questions are come by your data. So another time, data becomes your foundation, your base to get the answer of your questions. Identifying the trend and patterns. It's it's called enabling the longitudinal analysis. That means, so if you want to know the pattern, you try to recurrently your tools apply on a to know the consumer behavior, market trends, or performance. Whenever you try to know the whatever the behavior of your students, of your consumers, of your employees, at that time, whatever the trends and patterns, if you want to know the trends and patterns, here also you need the data. So uh, the method longitudinal analysis. It gives you the result of the trends and patterns. Next, performance evaluation. So As a PhD scholar also, every 6 months you have also give the small viva in front of your PhD committee. So it's called the performance evaluation in so many companies and in a now government also every 6 months, sometime 1 year after government or company at least try to evaluate your performance. But on what basis? On what basis? Company, government, or institutions evaluate its subordinate performance on the basis of the data. So, valid and reliable. There are these two words are very important. Uh, some other research person also take the lecture whenever some topics they it's at least take the 1 hour to at least understand this concept. Um Valid and reliability. So, valid and reliable data gives you proper evaluation. The last one, or the objectives of the research methodology, quality and integrity management. Okay, so okay, please go ahead. Uh, why we need the data collection? So in a starting of the lecture, I said that data is become the raw material of your PhD thesis or PhD whole journey. So mostly I always try to convey my message to the student that you at least spend 6 months on a literature review and 6 to 1.5 or sometimes 2 years on a data collection. So first, evidence based the decision making. So remember, if we want some systematically decision making, at that time collecting, interpreting, and applying the data, it's become your scientific research. Remember that PhD scholar or student always go with the some scientific research. Here, that means scientific research is not I told about any science or science based, but I said that at least whatever the research methodology you learn from your uh, you learn from the books or any other at least from the friends or colleagues or from your sir, at least make a, a scientific decision whenever you give your conclusion, whenever you give the some analytical data or some your result in front of your the guide. At that time you give him some evidence of scientific research. So first, if you collect the data, it's give a decision making. Second, problem identification and solving. Yeah, when we collect the data, at that time your problem is almost clear very well that this problem is actually any you get any result from this. So almost your half problem is solved when you collect the valid reliable data. So mostly uh, problem identification and solution problem identification, and for the solution of this problem you need a solid data collection. So there are two method we will talk later on. Primary and secondary both are useful in this type of problem identification and solution to need the data further. Okay, performance tracking and improvement. Improvement mostly connected with the evaluation. It's also useful, or it's also useful to you in a PhD journey also. Whenever you collect your data and talk with your guide or colleagues, at that time, this data show you that you go to the correct path or not. So performance tracking, and if you need some, that no sir, I need some more data, no sir, I need some secondary data, no sir, I need some primary data or more emphasis on the primary data. This all things are comes and go when you already on your PhD data collection side. So, performance tracking and improvement. So, whenever the data collection, why we need the data collection? So, when you starting your collect the data collection, at that time you evaluate your performance and also improve that performance, and make whatever the remedial, whatever the steps you need, and go the right path. So the third and most important need of data collection, tracking your path and also improve your performance. Okay, next. It's very easy that there are two types of the data collection method. First is the primary data collection method, and second is the secondary data collection method. Both are very important. Remember, I have also used both methods in my MPhil degree as well as in my PhD degree also. So, primary data collection and secondary data collection is not, both are completely separate methods, but both are important. And mostly when we are going through some research work, both methods are useful. Okay, so first we are going with the primary data collection method. Remember, primary data collection method is a compulsory method for most of the PhD holders. Primary data is a raw data, and is a term for data collected at source. This type of information is obtained directly from the first hand. Remember, some words are very important. Do not need the remember a whole sentence. First, primary data is a raw data. Second, it is the information first hand sources. Please don't change the slide. First hand sources. That means the person who need the information by himself collect the information, himself or herself. The researcher by himself collect the information. First hand sources by means of service, observation, and experimentation, not subjected to any. Okay. So primary data is a first hand information which collected by the researcher by himself or herself. Yeah, sometimes might happen that he appoints some expert person where we talk. There are not only five methods, sometimes six methods, seven methods. Okay, but here I take the most important method. There are five important methods. The first one is a survey and questionnaire. First method is the survey and questionnaire method. Remember, questionnaire method is the most important and widely used the method in any type of research. Any type of research. Most of we make some question, and it is very easy. Remember, whenever you talk with your guide or colleague, they also he or she also mostly ask you some question that what are you doing now? What I told in the last meeting, and you at least any improvement in your literature review? You do any more literature review? So just ask the question. So this is a very simple and wide used method, questionnaire method. Please change the slide. Only one slide. Huh? Yeah. There are no interview नहीं ऊपर ले लेना थोड़ा હજુ એક હશે પર લગભગ હજુ એક હશે કાકા ઓકે નેક્સ્ટ એક જ નેક્સ્ટ હા ઓકે there are three modes of the question. Mostly, it's a very easy to make the questionnaire. But remember, uh, you get or you try to get the answer from the respondent, and respondent are spread all over the world, all over the country, all over the state, or different cities. So remember, first clear. So for this reason, I said in a few minutes ago that literature review is most important. So whenever you make your primary research method, whenever you at least try to uh, uh, make the questionnaire, at that time, at least first you decide your population. On the basis of population, you decide your sampling. And if your sampling spread, whatever the area, on that basis, you make your survey and questionnaire method. Questionnaire, when your sample is limited, your area is limited, at that time, you make the questionnaire. But sometimes your area is very wide and it is not possible to connect each and every person at that time. Some researchers try on a survey method. In a survey, we just uh, go more inside or analyze the trends and make some decisions. Whenever you will make your questionnaire, or if you complete your questionnaire, there are three modes to get the information from the respondents. Very old method. First, the method is very basic method that we, by myself, go with the respondent and I ask the question or I give the my questionnaire and he fills the questionnaire and give me back. But it's very time consuming because every time if I want to go in every place and contact every individual, then it's a take time. And also it's also uh, more expense to me. So sometimes now it's a very easy method. Just I am taking the lecture and you also participate online. So now online method is very easy. You at least spread your questionnaire by the WhatsApp or email. Sometime few years ago, the telephone method, at this time in the present also so many researchers use this telephoning method. But the main drawback is that it's not more suitable to phone someone and get the answer. So it's a very limited use. But WhatsApp or email, uh, today also, and in a present scenario also, so many, I, am, I also feel so two or three questionnaire every week, mostly. There are so many researchers who at least send their questionnaire in a WhatsApp or via email. Here also the problem of the respondent, that some respondent give the answer, some respondent never responds or never try back to give your answer. Sometimes they give half answer, not to fill they fill the half questionnaire. But there are also some short ups of the solution also of this there. That one of my students make this type of the questionnaire, that if you do not complete the whole questionnaire, it's never submitted. So this type of the some solution also come. But the questionnaire mostly, if you want to collect uh, fully data, and also the data which directly connect with your objective. Remember, primary data method is the most important method. Why? Because whatever the data you collected by the primary data, it's directly with your objective and hypothesis. So, because you only those questions include which are important for your research. So, questionnaire method is a primary research method, and it's the most important because it is directly connected with your objectives. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Uh, there are two types of the research, first quantitative and as well as qualitative also. So whenever we are go for the wide area and try to catch the measuring method, measuring or opinion or attitude, opinion of your customers, attitude of your students, at that time these both methods are very useful. Please next. Okay, the second most important method is a interview method. It's very uh, one of the important method of for the primary data collection. So first method is a survey and questionnaire. Second method is a interview method. Mostly it is a connection between observation and respondent. It is oral, verbal questions and corresponding with the or between the interviewer and interviewee. બહુ સરળ મેથડ છે મિત્રો, અને આપણે ઘણીવાર આનો ઉપયોગ કર્યો છે. મોસ્ટલી ઇન્ટરવ્યુવી એક પણ હોઈ શકે અને આખી કમિટી પણ હોઈ શકે. And it's also a useful method whenever you try to collect the some data where it is more important, just give the answer, just not give the only the answer, but you want to make some more depth knowledge. At that time interviews are more important. There are two types of the interview: structured interview and unstructured interview. Structured, that means you already decided what I want to ask the first question, the followed question, third, fourth, five. You already structure all the questions in a method, in an interview method. Whereas unstructured method, that means आप वो फ्लो में बह जाते हो. दैट मीन्स के यू जस्ट टेक द इंटरव्यू ऑफ द रिस्पोंडेंट. आप उनको क्वेश्चन पूछ लो, जैसे जैसे वो आंसर देते जा रहे हैं वैसे वैसे आप उसको नए नए क्वेश्चन पूछते जा रहे हैं. यहाँ आपने कोई तय करके नहीं रखा. यू 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 डिड नॉट डिसाइड कि भाई मैं पहला ये क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, दूसरा ये. बस जस्ट आप उसको पूछे जा रहे हो, आपको जैसे जैसे आंसर आते जाते हैं वैसे आप आगे बढ़ते जाते हैं. सो बोथ आर इम्पोर्टेंट मेथड. Sure, when you take the structure interview method, at that time you already decided that this is my objective, and for the objectives I only ask these questions. But in a unstructured method, here you go for a step. Please next. Okay. In an interview method, there are the three different methods. In person, you directly interview the person. Video call, just we talk here. We take the lecture on a video. Same, you take the interview on a video or sometime on a phone. But in a, all the in person means that directly when we take the interview, it's the most important and reliable method in all three methods. Okay. Now, yeah. Why we take the interview method when we compare with the other method? In an interview method, you get the deep in your question, and whenever the complexity of your research, whenever when the more complexity in your research topic, and you need a more a, a very depth data, at that time interview method is very useful. But remember, it is not easy method, just like a questionnaire. So the interviewee must be experienced person, knowledgeable person, skilled person. બરાબર છે જો તમે એક પરેશ રાવલનું એક પિક્ચર જોયું હોય તો ઇન્ટરવ્યુ લેતા ના આવડતું હોય તો ઘણીવાર માર ખાવાનો પણ વારો આવે છે. બહુ સરસ મજાનું કોમેડી પિક્ચર છે અને મેં જોયું છે. તો મને ખ્યાલ આવે કે જો આપણે ઇન્ટરવ્યુ લેવામાં ભૂલ કરીએ તો ઇન્ટરવ્યુ દેટ મીન્સ કે એને ડેટા કલેક્ટ કરવા જાય છે અને ડેટા કલેક્ટ કરતી વખતે એ પૂછે છે એક ગામમાં જઈને કે બેન તમારા લગ્ન થયા છે? તો બેન કહે છે ના મારા લગ્ન નથી થયા. તો પરેશ રાવલ કહે છે કે ઓકે તો એને તો પેલું સ્ટ્રક્ચર ક્વેશ્ચનરી બનાવીને આપેલી હોય છે સ્ટ્રક્ચર ઇન્ટરવ્યુ પ્રોસેસ. તો એ તો એના મુજબ પૂછે એટલે બીજો પ્રશ્ન તમારે બાળકો છે કે કેમ? તો બેન એને મારે છે એક ઝાપડ. That means it is important that when we collect the data at that time, we have some knowledge, experience, and skill how to take the interview of the respondent. Okay, next. Observation. Uh, Observation is also a primary data collection method where researchers directly watch. यहाँ मैंने एक छोटा सा इमेज रखा है देख लिया. Directly watch, record and analyze behavior, events or situations in their natural environment without active questioning. What is the difference between observation and questionnaire or interview? यहाँ कोई वो क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछता, वो रिस्पोंडेंट से कोई बात नहीं करता, सिर्फ उसको ऑब्जर्व करता है, उसको देखता है और उसका जो कुछ बिहेवियर है, वो जो कुछ बात कर रहा है, जो कुछ बोल रहा है, उसको रिकॉर्ड करता है, समझता है. इट इज द आइडियल मेथड, फर्स्ट हैंड मेथड टू कलेक्ट the information about the human behavior and social interaction. यहाँ भी मैं आपको एक पिक्चर के बारे में बोलना चाहूंगा. अगर आपने अक्षय कुमार का भूल भुलैया देखा होगा तो उसने अपनी इसकी भी मैंने पीपीटी कहीं रखी थी लेकिन अभी एक ही सेट हो रही तो दूसरे को बताने का कोई मतलब नहीं है. तो भूल भुलैया में आप देखते तो अक्षय कुमार अपने दोस्त की वाइफ के बारे में सिर्फ ऑब्जर्व करता है, कोई बात नहीं करता, सिर्फ देखता है और अपने दोस्त को बोलता है कि भाभी का कुछ बिहेवियर नेचुरल नहीं है, कुछ से वो बिहेव कर रही है कि वो मेंटली डिस्टर्ब है किसी भी तरह से. ये भी एक कॉमेडी फिल्म में थी लेकिन बढ़िया था. लेकिन हमें पता चलता है कि व्हाट इज द ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड वहां से. दैट मीन्स a researcher just observe the respondent and collect the information. This also become the primary information. Okay, next. ओके, देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ द ऑब्जर्वेशन. नेचुरल, जहां आप रिस्पोंडेंट को कुछ भी नहीं करते, सिर्फ वो जो कुछ काम कर रहा है, वो जो कुछ भी कर रहा है उसको देख रहे हैं, उसको रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं और वही आपका डेटा बनता है. कंट्रोल, दैट मीन्स मोस्टली इन साइंटिफिक रिसर्च में एनवायरनमेंट को कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है. दैट मीन्स कि वो जो लेबोरेटरी में पूरा एनवायरनमेंट कंट्रोल करते हैं और वहां जो कुछ रिस्पोंडेंट करता है तो वहाँ वो रिस्पोंडेंट कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट में जो कुछ बिहेवियर करता है को वो ऑब्जर्व करते हैं और लिख लेते हैं। तो देयर आर टू मेथड फॉर द ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड, नेचुरल एंड कंट्रोल। सेकंड, ये भी हो सकता है। दैट मीन्स के इन ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड देयर आर द पार्टिसिपेंट और नॉन पार्टिसिपेंट। आप बुलाकर भी कर सकते हैं। कई देयर आर सो मेनी मेडिकल कंपनीज हु already invited some person on a hired some person to experiment on that, and they observe their whatever the changes in their behavior or in their body also. So, they already participate. Sometimes non-participant. We just observe our employees. We just observe our students and collect the data. A sports coach just observe their student who plays in the playground, how they play, how they behave with their other student, other sports person, and they collect the information. And then after the complete the game, they give some instruction. They give some at least instruction to the their student that you change this type of the behavior, you change this type of the style. So observe the two methods: participant and non-participant. Next. शेड्यूल। ओके, जहां भी कोई बात नहीं, मैं दोनों ले लूंगा। तो शेड्यूल, दैट मीन्स व्हेन वी आर वांट टू कलेक्ट द wide areas information from mostly in a whole country. Suppose our uh, central government collect the data about the population, but we are more than 150 crore. So it is not possible for one researcher. It is not possible for some team also. So they appoint the enumerator. It's called the enumerator. They give the training to him how to collect the data, and by this way they collect the whole data from the or population, sometimes from the whole state, sometimes from the whole country. So the census of population, the census of agriculture, the census of industrial data, the census of some other whatever the this all the information become the in the whatever the method, it's called the schedules. So this is also a method, but this method is used by mostly because it makes the use expenses also. The Indian government uh, provide whole budget more than 10,000 crore of rupees to collect the primary data. It's become the primary data, collect the primary data of the population, and it's useful for to make the budget, it's useful for make the policy, it's useful for make the any uh, policy which you implement, and it's which conduct all over the country. So the this is also a primary research method, the schedules. Next, the last, and mostly this method is useful in a science experiment. Mostly, this type of experiment has been made in a science where you completely make an environment in a like a laboratory, and use your tools, and you find out some information or whatever the conclusion you note down and make this experiment recurrently, non-stop, day by day, or some month, some year. You make this experiment, same type, same use the same tools, same technique, and by this way you get the information and note down in your research, and ultimately, whatever you get the ultimately result, it's used for your research study. So the experiment is the another method, but this is mostly used in the science base. So these are the methods from which we collect the primary data collection. But mostly questionnaire, interview is the basic and most useful method for the commerce student. And remember, primary data is the most important data. Whatever the method you use, but primary data becomes your base for the research. And remember, mostly primary data is directly connected with your hypothesis and objective also. So primary data is very important for your research. Next. The advantages of primary, mostly when we talks about the method at that time we also talk about the advantages, but okay, we see availability of the techniques. So when we use the primary data, there are so many techniques are also available, and it's a very useful also. And in the future also this method are useful in a other when you are become the professor or teacher, this method are also useful at that time also. So availability of techniques, there are so many techniques are available for the primary data collection. Okay, next. So it's a good specific research institute. Yeah, because whenever we talk about the primary data collection, at that time we have whatever the our problem is take. It's a specific with the related with the sometimes with related with the banking, sometimes related with the agriculture, sometimes related with the commerce or management or any other branch. So specific institute at that time there are the different method in primary data collection. Okay, so these all method are related with some specific issue also. So whatever your specific issue, uh, there are enough primary research methods are available. Okay, next. Please next. Okay. Uh, Very important advantages of primary data method. Here we have all control on primary data because whatever the method you use, questionnaire or interview or experiment or schedule, whatever the method you use, all control on this, all the tools are your own because you make this tool. Questionnaire method is also one type of the tool. Remember, primary questionnaire method. That means the primary research method is also a tool, but you make this tool by your own. Sometimes you take the advice of your colleague or sometimes your guide also, because guide ultimately give you some suggestions or make help in your making the primary tools. So it's the main advantages of primary research method is your whole control on this tool. And for this reason, whatever the information you collected, you already know that this type of the information I collected. So it's a good. Next. Efficient spending for information. Yeah. Remember that primary data collection, the expense or whatever it's more than the secondary data collection. So the primary, mostly in a primary data collection, time and expense is more than secondary data collection. So uh, it's a whatever you use your resources, time and expense, but it's make some efficient information. You collect some efficient information. You collect the full information. Why? Because primary data is mostly connected or mostly more connected with your research methodology or your research question. Okay, next. Okay. આપણે પછી ઝડપથી સેકન્ડરી ડેટા પર પણ જતા રહીએ. પ્રોપ્રાઇટરી ઇન્ફોર્મેશન ધેટ મીન્સ કે માલિકીની ઇન્ફોર્મેશન, પ્રાઇમરી ઇન્ફોર્મેશન એ મોટે ભાગે આપણે જાતે જ મેળવીએ છીએ. ધેટ મીન્સ કે આપણી પોતાની ઇન્ફોર્મેશન છે, આપણે વિકસાવેલું આ ટૂલ છે. વી ડેવલપ ધીસ ટૂલ. This is our tool. Okay, so it's a proprietary information. Next. Yeah, it's a expensive. Why? Because in a primary data, you develop this tool. So first, the expense of development. You take this information from the respondent. So whenever you go, it's incur the some expense to you. If you appoint some expert or any subordinate, then it also expense to you. And whenever you try to get the information from the wide area, some cities, from some another state also, at that time, if you use the mail or telephone or whatever the other method, but it's expense. Okay, so it's an expensive method compared to the secondary method. Okay, secondary data collection method. Second, if it is expense, then also it's a time consuming, because it is not ready made. If you get the information from any books or any magazine or any from the website, this is the information which you collect first hand information है. तो ऑब्वियसली इसमें टाइम जाएगा, क्योंकि आप लोगों को ही अपने आप जाना है. मैं भी जब जाता था तो एमपीडी और पीएचडी के लिए, तो मैं ही लेके अपनी बाइक लेके कंपनी में जाता था. शुगर इंडस्ट्री में जब गया था, तो शुगर इंडस्ट्री, हर एक शुगर इंडस्ट्री में जाता था, वहां जाके बैठता था, उनको क्वेश्चन करता था. वो मुझे कई बार आंसर देते थे, नहीं देते थे, कई बार मैं जाता था. तो कई बार इट्स अ टाइम कंज्यूमिंग, ऑलमोस्ट, रिमेंबर, ऑलमोस्ट फ्रॉम द 6 months to 2 years. इट्स टेक टाइम. समटाइम्स 1 साल 2 साल भी लग जाता है हमें सिर्फ प्राइमरी डेटा कलेक्शन, बट इट्स ओके. इट्स अ वेल वर्दी. इट्स यूजेबल इन अवर रिसर्च. नेक्स्ट. नॉट ऑलवेज फिजिबल. या लड़कियों के लिए कई बार बाहर जाना और ये सब डेटा कलेक्ट करना और फिर घर आके उसको एनालिसिस करना, इट्स नॉट फिजिबल. कई बार इतनी दूर दूर इंफॉर्मेशन लेने के लिए जाना पड़ता है. कई बार मिलती है, कई बार नहीं मिलती. कई बार रिस्पॉन्डेंट रिस्पॉन्स करते हैं, कई बार आधे करते, आधे नहीं करते. कई बार आधी इंफॉर्मेशन आती, कई बार नहीं आती. तो नॉट ऑलवेज फिजिबल प्राइमरी डेटा. इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज फिजिबल, बट दैट्स ओके. इफ यू ट्राई हार्ड, देन यू गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द प्राइमरी डेटा. नेक्स्ट. Large volume of data. Yeah, whenever you take the information by questionnaire or interview or by observation, never thought about that the only the useful information you get. So many times there are the large volume of data you collected, and by analysis, you use the analysis on this data, and from the data you convert it in a useful information. So लार्ज वॉल्यूम ऑफ द डेटा हो सकता है, और उसमें से आपको एनालाइज करके डेटा में से अपनी जो उपयोगी वो इंफॉर्मेशन निकालनी पड़ती है. नेक्स्ट. रिलेक्टेंट ऑफ रिस्पोंडेंट. या we want the information from the respondent, but if respondents are not reluctant to give the information to us at that time, sometimes हो सकता है कि कई बार रिस्पोंडेंट हमें इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं देते हैं. इट्स ओके. हमें ट्राई करना पड़ता है, कई बार दूसरी बार जाना पड़ता है, तीसरी बार जाना पड़ता है, लेकिन इट्स पार्ट ऑफ द रिसर्च. आपने कई बार देखा होगा, कई मूवी में भी और कई जगह सीरियल में भी, कि कोई अगर कोई जांच कर रहा है, तो उसको हर बार इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाती है, ऐसा नहीं, उसको कई बार जाना पड़ता है. तो इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ अवर research journey. Okay, next. Yeah, the second method. The first method is the primary data collection. Second method is the secondary data collection. Secondary data method, that means the data has already collected by someone. Has already collected. ये कहीं पर है, यानी कोई बुक्स में है, कोई मैगजीन में है, कोई पीरियोडिकल्स में है, कोई वेबसाइट पर है, कोई सर्च इंजिन पर है, गूगल पर है, कहीं पर है. तो इट्स कैप्ट इट. दैट डेटा एनीवन कैन बी यूटिलाइज. हम उसको ले सकते हैं कहीं से भी. इट्स कॉल्ड द सेकेंडरी डेटा. ये हो सकता है, मैंने लिखा है कि रिक्वायर परमिशन. हाँ, अगर वो डेटा को हमें हमारे रिसर्च में कहीं यूज करना है, तो उसकी परमिशन हमें उनसे लेनी पड़ती है, जहाँ जरूरत है वहां, और हम उसको दिखा सकते हैं एज अ रेफरेंसेस. ओके, नेक्स्ट. तो सेकेंडरी डेटा इज अ कंप्लीटली ऑपोजिट ऑफ द प्राइमरी डेटा. प्राइमरी डेटा वहां जहां हम अपने आप को कोई इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करते हैं. सेकेंडरी डेटा में ऑलरेडी वो इंफॉर्मेशन है, हमें तो सिर्फ उसको लेके आना है. Next.
Hello, sir. Hello. Sir, please
हाँ,
conclude
संभળાય.
within a 5 minutes.
Okay. Sure. ओके. थोड़ा स्पीडी देख लेते हैं. सेकेंडरी डेटा दो तरीके से हम ले सकते हैं. अब आप उसको एक इंटरनल, फर्स्ट वी कलेक्ट फ्रॉम द इंटरनल मेथड एंड सेकंड फ्रॉम द एक्सटर्नल. सपोज हमारी इंस्टीट्यूशन है, अगर कोई बच्चा पहली बार एडमिशन ले रहा है तो उसका एडमिशन फॉर्म भर के जो कोई इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं तो उसको विद इन इंस्टीट्यूशन देते हैं, कि उसकी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन ऑलरेडी इंस्टीट्यूशन के पास हो गई. अगर कोई कंपनी में कोई कंपनी में है तो कंपनी की सेल्स वॉल्यूम, कंपनी की परचेस वॉल्यूम, कंपनी के नंबर ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयज, कंपनी का प्रॉफिट लॉस, सब कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन हमें कंपनी में से मिल जाती है, तो इसको हम सेकेंडरी डेटा कहते हैं. लेकिन अगर हमें कहीं से बाहर से इंफॉर्मेशन लेनी होती है, जो इंफॉर्मेशन अंदर नहीं है, अगर हमें मार्केटिंग में जाना है, कोई प्रोडक्ट के बारे में समझना है, कोई प्रोडक्ट की कितनी इसका सेल्स कितना है, और कोई कहाँ बाहर से देखना है, तो एट दैट टाइम वी गो आउटसाइड ऑफ द कंपनी, वी गो आउटसाइड ऑफ द इंफॉर्मेशन. तो सेकेंडरी डेटा कब बनता है? तो सब टीचर अगर वही इंफॉर्मेशन, बच्चों की इंफॉर्मेशन लेके अपनी अटेंडेंस बढ़ता है, अपनी परीक्षा में मार्क्स रखते हैं, तो एट दैट टाइम इट्स बिकम द एक्सटर्नल इंफॉर्मेशन, सेकेंडरी इंफॉर्मेशन. ओके, नेक्स्ट. ओके, विद इन कंपनी ये हो गया. प्लीज नेक्स्ट.
Yes, sir.
या. ओके. तो दोनों मेथड, मोस्टली प्राइमरी डेटा मेथड एंड सेकेंडरी मेथड. इन सेकेंडरी डेटा मेथड मोस्टली जो इंफॉर्मेशन ऑलरेडी किसी ने कलेक्ट करके रखी है उसको हम यूज कर रहे हैं. तो थैंक यू वेरी मच फ्रेंड सबका. और मैं फिर से सबको सॉरी बोलना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि अभी तो काफी सारी स्लाइड भी थी. कम से कम मैंने 15-20 क्वेश्चन भी बनाए थे, तो जो मैं टीम को बोलूंगा कि इसके पीछे एटलीस्ट 15 क्वेश्चन थे, उसके आंसर भी लास्ट एक स्लाइड में थे. तो हिरल, जो कोई है टीम में, प्लीज वो शेयर कर देना पार्टिसिपेंट को. लास्ट स्लाइड रख के तो वो अपने आप वो आंसर दे देंगे. बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन थे, तो थोड़ी 10-15 मिनट वो स्लाइड को ऑनलाइन सेट करने में निकल गया. तो वो 10-15 मिनट वो भी मेरे चले गए, लेकिन फिर भी सबका मैं एक फिर से आभार मानता हूँ, और सारे बच्चों को शुभेच्छा देता हूँ कि वो खूब अच्छी तरह से अपनी पीएचडी डिग्री को कंप्लीट करें. और ये सारे क्वेश्चन हैं, उसके आंसर भी मैंने रखे, तो ये क्वेश्चन उनको प्लीज शेयर कर देना, तो वो उसके आंसर दे पाए. और यहाँ प्लीज अब मैं टीम को वापस देता हूँ अपना माइक. और थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Okay, sir. On behalf of Bhakt Kavi Narasimha University, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation for your highly informative and engaging lecture. Your session was truly enlightening, and the clarity with which you explained the concept made it easy for everyone to grasp even the complex ideas. The integration of practical examples with theoretical knowledge added to great value and made the lecture both interesting and impactful. We are genuinely grateful for the time and effort you have invested sharing your expertise with us. Your insight have not only deepened our understanding but will also guide us in a future academic and professional pursuits. It was a great honor to have the opportunity to learn from you. Thank you once again, sir, for such wonderful and inspiring session. We hope to have more such variable interaction in the future. Thank you, sir.
થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
Okay, sir. હવે તમે લિંક થઈ શકશો. Okay, sir.
ઓકે. થેન્ક યુ મેમ.